Hello, how are you today? Do you want to dive into a book that might just surprise you? Whether it becomes your next favorite, or one you might skip, let's find out what readers are saying about it.
Robin, who has 610 likes, says, "Trust me, y'all aren't ready for this, somehow even more tender and excruciating than the first book. Rediscovered love plus community takes the center stage here in exquisite fashion. Rebecca Ross has proven again and again to be the kind of writer sewing pure magic into her words and worlds. My full review will be written at a later date and posted on my blog. Thank you to Edelweiss and the publisher for providing this arc." Serafina, who has 256 likes, says, 2.75s. Rebecca Ross writing was the only thing that saved this book for me. Play You and I by One Direction. I got so bored reading this book. And it pains me to say this, but this was so disappointing. Originally I was planning on binging this book, however things took a turn. I could not stay awake. I swear it took me 4 days to finish this, even though I was anticipating this release so much, to the point where I planned on binging this in a day, but my gosh, I was so tired reading this. I dozed off the majority of the first half of the book, but around the middle it somewhat got better. I wouldn't say this was a terrible read, but it didn't give me that overwhelming, emotional, intense feeling like Divine Rivals did. I felt so underwhelmed reading this one, and that ending just made me more dissatisfied. I am gonna be honest, I came here solely for the romance and not for the conflict between the gods. The romance was non-existent in this book, besides that one chapter, but it was mostly the gods. Though I mean, it wasn't that bad. But the war between the gods just wasn't as satisfying as I thought it would have been. It was boring AF. Dacre was literally the main character. ATP and Iris Roman just felt like the background characters or subs. The plot was so messy that it felt so confusing. The amnesia trope lacked plot. It was so random. It was missing that angst and longing feeling between Roman and Iris. It was so draggy. Nothing really happened regarding that. This trope didn't happen in the way she had hoped it would, but things were still somewhat fine, even though this wasn't the best book. I will say I did enjoy some of the romantic scenes we got from Roman and Iris. I will always eat those up. And oh my gosh, Rebecca's writing was truly out of this world. It was breathtaking as always. I fell in love with her poetic and lyrical style of writing again. Even though this one didn't do it for me, it was still good in some parts. Fuck my studies, TFROMANIRIS are here. Phones are silenced. Tissues are ready. Coffee is made. Let's do this shit. Roman Iris, I am coming for you. Fuck exams, I am gonna binge this when it comes out. Jessica, who has 495 likes, says, "Divine Rivals is a perfect book, in my opinion. So I had high expectations going into this sequel. And RR gives a valiant effort in preserving the magic and wonder she previously created in the first book. She continues to take the horrors of war and craft a narrative that guides the reader to focus on hope, new directions, and comfort. The writing really is quite lovely. That being said, what I loved most about Divine Rivals felt somewhat absent from this sequel. I wanted more of the love letters. They were the heart and soul of the previous book, and with Kitt missing his memory, there was a perfect opportunity for them to continue to be the focus of this second half. But that takes a back seat to expanding the world and further developing the background between Enva and Dacre, which isn't bad. I am pretty sure many readers were wanting this, but it's just a personal preference that I wanted the romance to continue to be the main point of the story rather than the war plot. So while not as perfect as Divine Rivals to me, I still found this to be a commendable second installment. The ending makes sense for the characters and everything suited the overall tone of the story. I enjoyed this and appreciated the conclusion. 4 stars. Sabrina, who has 554 likes, says, "You may not be a goddess, But nor am I a god. Despite our mundane lives, perhaps we make our own magic with words. Divine Rivals will forever have my entire heart as it held such magic, but this one unfortunately didn't quite capture it. 3.5 stars. I would love to see your words catch fire with mine. Rebecca's lyrical prose is what enamored so many of us with her way of weaving together an unparalleled love story and the emotions felt between Iris and Roman face to face and word for word. In Divine Rivals, and the same could be said here, but not entirely. Attempting to make this as spoiler-free as possible, my qualms with this. 1. The gods. They were such a joke. I personally didn't care about them in Divine Rivals and was merely interested to know about them. So for those that wanted more world building in regards to the fantasy, this one is for you, as it had plenty that it overshadowed the romance emo. But it overall felt so mundane and the world building fell flat for me. I know this is but there's more telling than showing. Now, I didn't mind the prospect of war, but the whole purpose of it was senseless, so therefore it took my enjoyment away, as the romance had the opportunity to be explored more, but instead we were met with a pointless war and weakly structured gods, and the resolution with them was also weak. You mean to tell me someone able and knowing of something to defeat a certain person but not doing so over a ridiculous reason and upheld that reason at the expense of others? I guess the title of the book makes sense now, but they just sat their ass down on the ability to do so while so much chaos ensued. Point 2. The pacing. It was less of a condensed experience, as it took me quite some time to be able to get fully immersed in the book compared to I found myself picking up my Kindle and putting it down at different points in the book, telling myself I am savoring this and possibly feeling slumpy, but then I saw others expressing the same, so I wasn't alone in feeling that way. End of part 3 to part 4 is where things picked up and felt the most climactic yet anticlimactic, but I admit I was so on edge as a result of everything happening, given the emotions were running high, that I felt some adrenaline coursing through me in anticipation. 3. The romance. Because of the obvious obstacle. I understand it's part of the reason we didn't get so much, but did that reason have to drag to 40%? It felt like we only got 15 to 20% romance in this, and I was literally living off the crumbs. Some of their letters were cute and reminiscent of those in but somehow vague here, which is partially understandable considering nothing could be expressed freely. IDK. After Book 1's events, they didn't have time to explore their relationship more and see each other, and one chapter was made indicative of that, so I wish we could have gotten more of them doing so and seeing the progression of it. Point 4. The many plot holes that I won't spoil, but I was left with some unanswered questions. And Forrest? I was surprised to change my mind about him and feel like Marisol and Keegan should have switched places. Onto what I did enjoy. Their souls weren't mirrors but complements. Constellations that burned side by side. The full circle role reversal moment in one of Iris and Roman's letters. I screamed here. Their reunion and their face-to-face interactions, even though it was limited. Chapter 35, some of Chapter 36. Chapter 44 towards the end, and the ending, although a bit rushed, had my heart and attention. It reminds me of Chapter 41 in A Curse for True Love. Kick. The problem evidently was the lack of more in excess of other things here for me. Also, the multi-POV chapter, as it showed the war happening in real time for certain people, and you could truly feel the beauty, angst of it. Which brings me to addressing that I did manage to feel some of the emotions throughout the book at certain points, especially given the anguish and pain Iris felt, but mostly in the last part of this. As I teared up, Roman and Iris became one of my favorites last year, given Rebecca's ability to write their characters so intricately, exquisitely, and relatable, other than their words feeling like magic on paper, and it felt like that here, yet it didn't, despite them having gone through so much. I could go on, but I am happy they got their happy ending. They will both be incredibly missed. Holding out hope. Rebecca considers a novella as I want more of them, and possibly Addie in all. I know reading is subjective, and I really wish I fully loved this as so many of you did. It pains me giving this lower than 5 stars. It took me days to process this. Knowing Roman and Iris deserve stars and this is their conclusion, but so many things were underwhelming and many plot points some of us would have wanted more than what we were met with. That it fell flat despite enjoying some of it. To me, Divine Rivals could have been wrapped up with a longer page length and a different conclusion. But, in all honesty, this wasn't a bad book, it just wasn't what I expected. Divine Rivals review. Some quotes. How I love to lose to you. How I love to read your words and hear the thoughts that sharpen your mind. And how I would love to be on my knees before you now, surrendering to you and you alone. Write me a story where you keep me up late every night with your typing, and I hide messages in your pockets for you to find when you're at work. Write me a story where there is no ending. Kitt, write to me and fill my empty spaces. Let me be your secret. Then, tuck my words into your pocket. Let them be your armor. P.S. I noticed there was an asterisk by the word outshine in your previous letter. A typo? She was very good at burying things like that. Her anguish and her sorrow, and sometimes even the reality of what she faced. But she didn't quite know how to let them go without losing vital pieces of herself. It's time I missed our baby's fairy loot extra bonus chapter of Roman's POV bonus chapter. The date for Ruthless Vows release date has changed. New publication date is December 26th of this year and not next year. I could cry. SK, who has 1,341 likes, says, "Let me be your secret. Then, tuck my words into your pocket. Let them be your armor." Wow. What a fantastic way to end the duology in such a beautifully crafted story. I was moved. The book I read was not mere words. They were emotions. Heartfelt moments. Something I envisioned and felt so real. It was not just reading. It was breathing and living this book, this duology. With 2023 coming to an end, it's books like these that make me realize why I love reading. Both Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows are written to perfection. The story, the characters, the fantasy elements, the letters, and the writing are immensely captivating. I am aware of the mixed reviews for this book and am sad to see it did not work for everyone the way it worked for me. But that's the beauty, reading is subjective. Also, I noticed the thing that might have worked for me was the fact I did not immediately jump from Divine Rivals to this. The reason being, I'm aware that the pacing is on the slower side and I had to put some gap in between those two reads. Coming back to this book, I found the start to be super intriguing. I didn't expect a different POV prologue. People who found Divine Rivals not focusing more on the fantasy elements will like this book better, as the gods Dacre and Enva are far more involved and the fantasy elements are there throughout. It's a Ya book, so don't expect any hardcore scenes or history between the gods. Iris, honestly, I love her. I admire her, especially after that ending. She is such a strong woman and so loyal to those she loves. She faced so many difficulties and yet she did not waver. She was vulnerable, yes, but she molded her emotions and love into her strength. Her love for Roman, her patience levels with him was one worth giving an applause. Roman, my love, I love him so much. I swear words will fail to describe. He is literally perfect. The man can do no wrong, even when he has no recollection of events, places, time, or people. The way he is so loyal to humanity, to his love, to his heart and his wife was everything to read. I loved his scenes and struggles so much. The way he dealt with Dacre was so intense yet so powerful. He wasn't shy to admit things, to cower behind, to claim his as his own, and I loved that. I can write a whole damn essay on him, but saving y'all some time. Dacre and Enva, such complex characters. Although Enva tried to represent good and balanced things, she represented herself as a savior. Even with her big reveal, it didn't impact me much as I found it to be a bit predictable. Yet, I found Dacre and his villainous personality to be more powerful. He outshines Enva in his evil ways. There certainly was more of him than her, and I won't complain cause he did bring out so much good in Roman. Supporting characters Addie, Tobias, Forrest and Sarah were so good. Their dynamic was amazing to read. The chemistry between them was so endearing. The banter so fun. Like I was giggling and blushing. I know we were all angry with Forrest, but he truly impressed me in this one. I liked Sarah since the beginning of Divine Rivals. Did you think I would let him tell me when and how to touch you? Did you think I would let him steal this last moment from me? When I surrender only to you, take you in my hands and burn with you before the end comes? The romance y'all are not prepared. It's so angsty. The mutual pining, the letters, the dangers of being in enemy territory and yet yearning for the other. The slow burn, the loyalty, the flirting, the claiming, the protectiveness, the throwing themselves in danger to protect the other, the facing a god but never betraying the one you love. Everything about the romance was done brilliantly. Iris and Roman have my entire heart and deserve each and every bit of happiness and love. I love the love they have for each other. My heart is in pieces with that ending. I didn't expect that. I loved the last 100 pages. They were intense, action-packed, romantic and full of pain. Hugs and things I can't really find words to explain. I wish some character arcs had worked out different cause my heart will not recover anytime soon. I hope someday she decides to write a spin-off for Addie. I would love that as I'm not ready to say goodbye honestly. Dear Rebecca Ross, am in need of immediate care package after that ending of the first book. SK.